Alright, starting the video. Um, let's see what we got going on here. Obviously, we made a big move higher in the SPX and the NDX. Going to start off with the daily chart in the SPX. Um, Obviously, we made pretty big moves the last three sessions. Um, we hit obviously resistance with the 100 moving average here. We got this consolidation here that now is going to be the next area um, of probably resistance. In the SPX, we haven't quite reached 100% retracement of the fib. We haven't. We're just a little overbought right now. I mean, can we go higher? We can. Likelihood of breaking through this area is not very likely, but anything can happen. I'm just going by what I see. So basically, we've made a swing low, another swing low, and we're hitting resistance at the 100-day moving average, as well as this consolidation kind of in the middle of it. So looking for balance today probably, or a quick move up and down, or not looking for much today. Um, Anything can happen though. We've made a pretty big move, so let's look at the index just to see the difference, and there is a difference. NDX has retraced the move 100% from the 6.2 high, and is a bit stronger. It's kind of like closed above the 100-day. So we'll see what how that tails out, how that works out today. Because this has made the move over the consolidation, but the SPX not making it there. We'll see. We'll see. I think we're due for a balance today. A little bit of a pullback. But really see the really key thing that I've been looking at is the 10-year, and the 10-year broke this key level of support here. The 10-year went all the way down to 2.6. That's always a positive for equities. People will put money into equities when the yields are lower. Um, Hence why maybe, the Fed that's supposed to be tightening is actually buying since July 6th. You can see it on the balance sheet. So we have to see here. As we're going into today, the TNX is actually up 0.53%. Not a huge move, but if it continues, that might be some of the signal of the Fed tightening a little bit. However, that's probably a big contributor to this move. We'll see though. Keep an eye on the TNX, the 10-year. See what that brings us. Moving into the next phase, we're going to look at the market profile, volume profile, the most traded price of the month, the most traded price of the week. See where we're at with certain levels that I look at. So let's move over to that. So as I'm speaking, the market just broke a little lower. Um, so basically, what we're seeing here is obviously strong moves higher in the ES. Um, Most traded price of the RTH session on Friday was 41.33. Okay, this right here is the overnight session that's just going on right now before the market open, and we're selling off right now. Now, if we made this big move up, right, and then this just means here that this was the most traded price on Friday, right? So if most people went long here in this area, right? If you're waking up and you're seeing the markets here at the open, this could cause people to just sell out of their longs. You could go down to the lows of Friday, That's just psychology. So we'll have to see. But right now, where we opened up and pretty much drove lower the whole session overnight. This this could also bring in, if we move low, we could balance here. But the big move really is down to this price here, down here, which is the most traded price of the last week. Right here, this is 40.73. So if we kind of come down, we're probably gonna, we might land there and balance a little bit. If we break this, then we could really fall. Okay, because there's not much support here. There's just not. I'm not expecting that. But if it does happen, people taking profits, that could happen. If we do look over at the NDX or the NASDAQ profile, you can see here that the most traded price is here around 860. So we kind of broke a level here in the overnight session. It's like kind of like coral line here. We just broke that. So that was a level I was looking at in the overnight. We broke that. We're kind of like made some excess here. That just basically liquidated longs from overnight. But however, we got to see what the market does. Um, I'll just go over to the 60-minute futures chart, which I like to base a lot of my levels on. Just give me a second. Okay, so let's move over to the ES. This is the 60-minute futures chart. Um, so I'm not sure everybody knows. I've talked about it in a couple of my videos about volume profile, how important it is to see things very easy and clearly. Um, so right now you can see this is the 60-minute ETH. This is just the whole session, not broken up into RTH and overnight. So we obviously, this was Friday's high. Or now the overnight, we've kind of been selling off a little bit, which is fine. So, but in the grand scheme of things, okay, in the grand scheme, if I zoom out here, okay, and we look at volume, okay, up here is the most traded price in the white. This is the most traded price to the year, a year ago, up to a year, okay. And right below, you can't really see it much. This is the most traded price right here, year to date, from the beginning of 2022, okay. However, very important that this green here, if you can see it right here, this green level here to here, this now is probably going to turn into the most traded price year to date. So what that means basically is anytime you have these large volume nodes, that they're called, they they act they act as magnets. They also act as big walls, because that's the most traded price, right? It's the most price it's going to be of this year. So there's going to be a lot of transactions going on here. Usually slows down the auction. That's what it does. It's going to slow it down. It's kind of what's happening now. Yes, if we clear this, it does leave room to go higher, right? But usually you don't. We made a very quick move higher. Okay, so now they call this poor structure. So because there's not a lot of support here. We didn't consolidate, move up, consolidate, move up. So I'm looking for balance today. But anything can happen. If we fall, you know, it could get, it could, people take profits. However, let's look at the Nasdaq, and I had a level pre-market that I was looking at. Okay, it was this level here. It was like 905. We were making a nice descending triangle here. This was holding support at the overnight, but it broke. So we broke below it. So these longs from overnight have been liquidated probably means we're going to balance here today. Um, However, that this key level here for the Nasdaq is 858. If we can crack and fall below this level, we can very well find ourselves back here to about 660. I don't say that's in the cards. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing here based on what I'm looking at. Um, so that's what I'm looking at today. I mean, this is kind of this Nasdaq is kind of honoring this trend line too. Just like came down to it and popped and found some buyers. Um, yeah. So today, basically, if I go back to my more zoomed in market profile and we look at this, this is a little more zoomed in. So we got the RTH session here from Friday. We got the overnight session here. So if you just look at it immediately, we are inside the session. Okay, we're below the most traded price. Okay, so we're inside. Doesn't really tell us much about what today's going to do. It's pointing to balance. I don't really see us. I see us. We can potentially go to the lows of the RTH. We could potentially, I don't see us going to the highs, but we could. We could come back up here, and I would believe we would find sellers again. So this could be balance in here. We could just chop around today. We got a lot of key levels above us, a lot of overhead supply. I don't really see, you know, um, too much happening today of substance. Could it? It could. Judging on the way we move so high, I don't see it. Uh, Again, this is just what I see based on the market structure. If you look at the NQ over here, this is the RTH session here. This is the overnight, right? This coral line here is what just broke. I was looking for that to not break, and so I could get a short off the open, but that didn't happen, right? However, you can see this price here is the most traded price of the last week, and it's the most traded price of Friday on the Nasdaq. If we fall below 860, like I mentioned previously, and we fall below it and we hold here, we definitely can go down to the lows. This would probably bring the ES or the SPY or whatever you want to call it down with it, right? Nasdaq's very powerful. Usually where this is going to go, it's like 28% of the S&P. So that's what I really look out for. If the Nasdaq can hold 860, then we're going to rotate. Okay. If we break 860, hold, create value below it, can't get above it, we're going down to the lows. This will probably bring ES down to the lows too. But that has to happen, right? This has to get broken. So I really see us kind of just bouncing, chopping around. There's going to be a little bit of a battle. I'm most likely longs from Friday going to get up, see that their positions underwater, and probably take some profit. If you're going to get long today, that's not a high probability play. So I mean, that's not really high probability. Could it work? It could, but not really high probability. Again, I'm new at doing this, so hopefully this video made sense. Any questions or comments would be much appreciated. So I'm gonna stop the video.